Good morning. Today we're gonna do a soil test. I'm gonna teach you how to take a soil sample. I personally do a test in my laboratory for people. I charge $150 to do a soil test, and it will show you the microbes that are in your soil so that you can know what you need to improve your soils, if anything. So here today is about how to take the soil test. There's three things you need to take a soil sample so that you can send this to the laboratory. You need a Ziploc bag, you need a marker, a permanent marker, and you need an apple corer. If you don't have an apple corer, you can do it other ways. You can get dirt other ways. This is just the easiest way. Go to the dollar store and get you an apple corer. It's worth the time and money to do that. So I'm going to show you today how to take a soil sample if you decide that you need to send a soil sample off to a laboratory. So the first thing you do is you want to write on the bag what the soil sample is, because I'm going to do 3 today and you may want to do 5 or 6. Let's say you were a big farmer and you had 6 fields. Let's say you're a big gardener and you have 6 fields. Let's say you are a small gardener and you have 6 plots of ground. You will need to take a soil test from each plot of ground, and they are separate plots, okay? I'm right here with my apple tree. I want to make sure my apple tree has everything it needs to be healthy and happy. So the first soil sample I'm going to take is under this apple tree. Now, when you take a soil sample from a particular plant, you're going to want to take it between the trunk and the drip line. Imagine that it's raining right now. And if it was raining and I hide under this tree so that the rain doesn't hit me, where will the rain be dripping off of? It'll be coming to the edge. This edge of this tree is the drip line on that side of the tree. The drip line on this side of the tree is over here. This is the drip line of the tree. So when we look at this flat, like on a screen, you're seeing this on a screen. Imagine this on a piece of paper and you have a tree. The outside edge is straight down as the drip line. But we're not concerned about the drip line up in the air. We're concerned about the drip line on the ground. So we make a line that comes straight to the ground. So right here is my drip line. So I have 1, 2, 3.5 steps and to the trunk, so I want to go halfway. So I'm going to go, there's a half a step, so that's about halfway right here. Somewhere in here is about halfway. So this is where I'm going to take my soil sample from. And I'm going to take 3 soil samples that are halfway. So I'm going to take one there, one here, and one over there somewhere, so that I get a representative idea. Because if I just take it from there, a bird could have pooped there, a dog could have peed there, and that will change the soil test. So if I take it in 3 different places, then that averages out what's really happening in the soil. We get a more accurate representation of what's happening around this tree. So I'm going to move the camera in closer and I'll actually show you how to take this soil sample from the ground. The first thing I want to do is label the bag so that we know what it is. So I'm going to say October 5th, 2021, because I don't want to mix this up with another soil sample I may have. And the laboratory needs to know what this is, because they may have done tests for you before, you may have them do them again. So we need a lot of information on here. So I have my date. And now I'm going to say apple tree. And that's the name of this soil sample. And so that's pretty much all I need for this. Alright? Now here's how, so that's all you needed the pen for. And the bag is simply to put the soil in. So write on it before you put the soil in it, because it makes it easier. Now we want to remove some of this thatch. Thatch is the old, dead, decomposing stuff. If I have a whole bunch of this stuff, in the soil sample that's going to change what's happening underneath where the roots actually are. So I'm moving back the thatch. I'm scraping down a little bit to get the decomposed stuff out of there. I've gone down about 1/2 inch, and I like the stainless steel one because I can dig real quick with that side and it makes it great. But I'd take a lot of soil samples, so I got a high quality one. And now I'm just going to turn this around, and I'm going around and around down in the ground here. And this soil is really dry. Oh, I should have had the sprinkler on here before I did this. I didn't know it would be so hard. But this is interesting. This shows me that I have a compacted soil. So I probably don't have the microbes that I need here. So I'm going to go down as far as my apple corer will go. Cutting down in here. It's been 2 weeks since I watered this grass. If it was summer and it had been 2 weeks, it'd probably be half dead by now. Okay, so there I have my core in there. Get my bag ready, open it up, and I'm going to lift it out, and I'm pulling it straight out, and I have my soil that I just cut from underneath there. I'm pushing it out of the core. You can use your pen for that if you want to. So there is some soil inside there. Seeing if I could dig it a little bit deeper right there. I want to go down 3 or 4 inches. So my depth right there is about 3 inches deep. There we go. Now I'm going to do that 2 more times. And I'm halfway from the trunk out there to the drip line of the tree. And let's just move this over to another spot. That's about 1/3 of the way around the tree. So here again, I'm gonna take the grass. I'm moving the grass and the dead thatch out of the way. This lawn has not been fertilized for years. It just gets mowed. And this year I've been moving the chickens around on it. And I can feel the apple core cutting through the roots. I'm twisting the apple core around and around, cutting down through there. I don't think I have very good infiltration on this soil. I feel like it's pretty compacted. So here's my second core right here. There we go. I'm going to go down again just to get it a little bit deeper. It was so compacted it was hard to get it deep enough with just pulling that out once. Okay, there we go. Got that one in about, I think that one went in about 4 inches. It wasn't quite as compacted as the first one. I was able to get it a tiny bit deeper. Get all the dirt out of there. Okay, now one more. So I'm just gonna pick a random place halfway under the drip line over there. I threw my pen down so I could see in the camera where to put the camera. That's the only reason it's on the ground. It's just to help me film. Okay, here we go. Now we do the same thing again. So if you want to get a soil sample from your lawn, this is the very same way, but you don't have to worry about a drip line under the grass because there is no drip line. There probably is a drip line, but I don't know how to figure that out. Drip lines are used for obvious large plants, like a tree, or maybe a bush, or something. Oh boy, that is tough. That is not. So this little piece right here, that was the very surface of the soil. So I'm going to knock that off because I want to know what's going down under a ½ an inch of the soil. The soil was so hard, I had trouble getting it out when I was scraping it like this. I couldn't dig down, it's so hard. So that's why I just knocked the top of that off. I don't want that very top ½ an inch of soil because it's mostly roots. So I'm digging. This only takes a moment. I thought this would be so much faster. Sometimes you just stick these in and pull them out. But this soil is very hard, which is telling me I need more microbes in the soil. My soil sponge is not good here. It's not working out well. So I need to do some work on getting the proper microbes in this soil. Okay, here's my last. So that is number 3 in this soil sample, and so I'm going to close this up, and that's ready to send to a lab. Now what you would do with this is you put it in an envelope, go to the post office, stick this in an envelope, and send it to a laboratory like me or somebody else to have your soil sample done. And you're going to need, most places will require paperwork. You'll have to fill more out than this. They'll need your name and your address and money and all that stuff when you send it to them so that they can go ahead and do your test. Okay, now let's go take a soil sample from another place. Let's go out here to our brand new soil. But in order to get a representative soil sample from here, we need to take 3 samples. So we need to take a soil sample down here, in the middle, and then up there at the end. Because if we only take it down here, this soil could be very different than up there. And I know that there were a lot more rocks up there, and I know that the range cattle used to stand around in this area, down here by the house. And so these could be completely different. So if I already know that there's a lot of cattle manure down here, I might even have this field be 2 different samples, because I might need to do something totally different up there than down here. So you gotta think that through. If you already know something about the field, then you need to maybe have 2 different samples on one field. Like if you're getting big beautiful crops in one area of your garden or your farm, then you probably should take a different sample, so it would be in a separate bag and you would name it something different so you know what piece of ground it is. But for right now, we're just going to take a quick sample of this, and then I'm going to take it in and I'm going to do a test with my microscope to see what kind of compost I need to be putting out here on the land. So we're going to write on here, we're going to write South Garden, because that's the name of this field, and we'll put today's date on it. Okay, so for this bag, I'm going to get 3 core samples. That's a representative sample of this field. Okay, there's my first core sample. Now we're going to go to the center of the field, and then to the top of the field. Now I'm in the greenhouse, and I want to get a greenhouse sample. So the question is, and this is a valid question, and the answer would be yes for both questions. So, scenario 1, do I want to get a representative sample of all the beds? Or do I want to get a representative sample of one bed? So maybe I need 10 bags and I need to do 10 soil tests. What if I want to create the ecological succession in here to grow early succession in half the greenhouse and late succession in the other? My strawberries are a late succession plant because they grow in forests. My brassicas, like cabbages and kale and broccoli, those are early succession plants. So if I'm going to create different soils for my different crops, then do I need to be getting a representative of everything or a representative of where I want it to grow? So you've got to think this through. You've got to think. And yes, I could do it one way, or yes, I can do it another way. That's up to you as a gardener and a farmer and a rancher and an agriculturist and an entrepreneur. You can run your business however you want to run it. But however you run it, you need to make sure that it is making sense, so you're doing the right thing. The wrong thing would be, I'm going to raise brassicas everywhere in here, and so I will create late succession. No, your brassicas will suffer. Or say, I want early succession soil in here, and then I'm going to try to raise strawberries. They're not going to do good. They need that high fungal level. So we need to be able to get the soil sample for the crop that we are growing. So today, I want to see how my soils are doing where I was having problems last year when I first started in November, December, January. I had anaerobic conditions in this area, and so that wouldn't be plant specific. That would be more about, do I have anaerobic or aerobic microbes? Do I have good water infiltration, or do I have bad water infiltration? And so that's a little bit different than plant specific. So there's all kinds of things you could be testing for. But this video is about how to actually take the soil sample. So we're going to come in here, right here where these beans are growing, and the beans don't look very good right here. They are blooming, they're putting on beans, but there are problems. Some of the leaves look bad. I'm going to bring the camera closer. We're going to take a soil sample right here. I'm going to see what's going on in the microbiome with these beans. And how will I know? Because I'm going to put it under the microscope and look at it. Top of the bean field. So I'm moving back the compost, and then I'm going to plunge this down in the soil bed, and then I'm just going to twist it gently to come out. I want to smell that. It does not smell bad at all. There's nothing offensive about that. That means it's aerobic. So that's good. Now I'm going to turn the camera around, and we're going to get a sample from this end over here, from the end of the bean bed. So I'll just move this back a ways, and we're gonna, okay, I'm hitting a piece of bark there. Need to move back a little bit more. Okay, just screw it around. Now I'm hitting a stone, and so I'm gonna abort that sample, and I'm gonna do a sample right here. Okay, here's a huge worm. This is awesome. Wait, come back. This is awesome. Oh man, look at that guy. That is awesome. A big old beautiful red worm in there. Love that. Okay, let's try this again. See if I can do this without hitting a worm. Okay, it's in there. I better twist it more gentle as I'm coming out so my handle doesn't come off. Okay. So this is my third sample out of this one bed. And a little bit more. So that gives me a representative sample of this one bed, and we will see what's happening with the microbiome in here, and we'll see if I have any fungus down in there. I don't think I do. It's mostly compacted clay. This soil is very compacted clay in here underneath there. I don't see much organic matter in there. So what I need to do is get a lot of earthworms in here and pile on a lot more compost on top. I wouldn't want to till this because that will just compact it worse and make it worse. The old way of thinking was, oh man, I have compacted soil, I better go in there and till it deep. Let's get a deeper tiller. Well, that just made your hard pan go deeper. It didn't really fix the hard pan. What we need to do is do it the way nature does it. Nature will add earthworms. Nature will add more organic matter. Nature will add a more diversity of roots. I have this tiny monocrop here. The best thing I can do right here is grow a big patch of daikon radishes. These beans are going to be done in a couple of weeks. Well, the best thing I could do right now for this compacted soil is to bring daikon radish seed out here today, plant it right now, so that, because in 2-3 weeks from now these beans will be harvested and done, and in 2 or 3 weeks from now the daikon radishes will be growing up, getting big. You don't want to wait till you harvest this and then put the daikon radish seeds in, because now you're a month behind. You can always grow plants together. There's no reason you can't. So this is how you take a soil sample. You need your name, your address, your payment for the sample. You would need the name of the field. And before you send the sample, get a form to fill out, or ask the person, the laboratory doing your sample, what information they need so that you can do the sample. And they may have you do the sample a little bit different than this, but it basically will be the same. All soil samples are basically the same when you take them. So here's my 3 samples today. From the apple tree, and from the outside south garden, and from this bed in here. So these are the samples that I'm sending to my own laboratory. I'm going to go into the house and I am going to test these right now on my microscope. I hope this helps you have the best garden you have ever had. Share this with your friends and your family. Let them know all the great things you're learning so that you can share with them how you have had the best garden of your life. There's absolutely no nematodes. There are no microarthropods. So far I have seen 0 fungi and 0 protozoa, but I do have quite a few bacteria. Oh, I found something. I have a big aggregate in here. That's a clump of like sand, silt, and clay and organic matter, and the bacteria form aggregates. And this one's moving around, but I can't tell what's moving it yet. I'm gonna have to watch it for a few minutes. Usually when I see that much movement, it's a microarthropod. I don't think that's what this is, because I'm at 400 total magnification, and he would be huge in my field of view if that's what it was. So it must be just a bunch of a whole bunch of bacteria together that are moving it around. I'm expecting to see a flagellate at this point. If it was a ciliate, he would be moving a lot faster. Okay, he's coming out. It looks like it is a flagellate that is making that whole thing move around. He was underneath of it, moving the whole thing. And it is a flagellate. Flagellates are good. Flagellates are a protozoa, which are, and they indicate that you have an aerobic situation going on. So that's a very good thing to see. Okay, let's look over here, see what else we have. There's a lot of bacteria in there. So as I suspected, with the new ground, I'm bacterial dominant. I see no fungal strands at all. No fungus at all. 0 fungus. So I'm looking at the green bean row in the greenhouse right now, and it has 10 times, or maybe 50 times as much bacteria. But there's still no nematodes and no microarthropods. And I think, so those higher life forms are not in there. So I think that's why my green beans are looking bad, is my soil simply is not, doesn't have the things in it that it needs to grow. So as soon as I get my compost going good, I'm going to get an extract on that. In fact, I have finished compost now. I could make an extract and we could put on there, and we could see what would happen. Give it like 2 weeks, and then look at it again and see if we can get some good protozoa action going on and some nematode action. I know I have fungus out there because I just saw a fungus, but there's no fungus down inside this soil, the deeper soil, down 2 or 3 inches deep. It's all in that top ½ inch where the compost is, but it's not down deep.